Today I'm here with Dr. Rothenberg, and we'll be talking about some of the research and treatments. The first question is about diet and butyrate. What does the new research around butyrate mean in clinical translation? Do we know if there is dietary application of this new finding?
Well, the butyrate story is fascinating and interesting, and it's unexpected, at least to us. And it's one that's still very strongly research-oriented, so there's not yet any clinical messages here. But from a research point of view, what we found is that it comes down to this article here that we just had in the front cover of this very nice journal here called Journal of Clinical Investigation. And these cells here, which are the T cells that are superimposed on the esophagus, are mediating the disease. And what we did in this analysis was characterize these cells on a single cell level related to sequencing their whole genome and looking at what we call RNA sequencing on the single cell level. That did involve 5 years of research, a lot of work. I credit Dr. Ting Wang for doing that. But one of the findings in this study was that these cells that are actually responding to the food express a receptor that binds to butyrate. Now, the receptor was known. It was known to be on these T cells. And the receptor is thought to be mediating the butyrate effect. Normally, butyrate is thought to be anti-inflammatory. However, we found in our research studies, and again, these are preclinical studies, that the butyrate was pro-inflammatory, pro-EOE, pro-Th2 type 2 immunity. So these results are under active investigation. There's a lot more work that needs to be done. But the bottom line is that we've raised the possibility that butyrate could be causative to some degree, and that it's not simply anti-inflammatory, and it's a very complex system to understand. It's important to note that butyrate is thought to be a byproduct of bacteria that are normally inhabiting both the esophagus and the intestine as well as the skin. So you can see the complex interaction between the environment, the bacteria, and what they make, and the immune system. And there's a lot to consider there, and we are actively pursuing that to understand its clinical significance and what to do with that piece of information to help patients become better.
The next question relates to the lower eosinophilic gastrointestinal disorders, eosinophilic gastritis, eosinophilic colitis, and eosinophilic gastroenteritis. What will it take to have a recognized standard diagnostic and treatment plan for lower eosinophilic gastrointestinal disorders? How close are you to achieving this? Additionally, so many questions. What is the most current research for eosinophilic gastritis, eosinophilic colitis, and eosinophilic gastroenteritis?
Wow, a lot of questions, limited amount of time. But the bottom line is that eosinophilic GI diseases are more than just EOE. EOE is the most common form of EGID, but the other diseases are being increasingly recognized, and they are, however, greatly less understood than EOE, and an active amount of research is underway to understand them. We have less patients and less information about them. This is a focus area of the Consortium of Eosinophilic GI Disease Researchers, or CEGR, which is a multi-institutional NIH-funded rare disease clinical network that's studying eosinophilic GI diseases. Eosinophilic gastritis is the closest to EOE in terms of the data set that we have. We are now looking at patients that are still only about 100 patients, but we are characterizing them on a molecular and cellular level and their clinical and endoscopic features, and we are planning to synthesize this information and ultimately generate in the next couple of years consensus of the diagnostic criteria, and hopefully also include some information about what we reach in terms of a consensus for treatment. Eosinophilic colitis is much more rare than eosinophilic gastritis, and we are at the stage where we're just beginning to characterize that, very early stages in terms of the histological changes as well as the molecular features. We do expect that these areas will continue to emerge, and more patients will be recognized to have them, and that as we develop increased diagnostic agreement about them, then there'll be larger cohorts to study.
This next one is about steroids. Is there any further research on the safety of current steroid treatments? There's a lot of fear surrounding corticosteroids. Previous studies include a large percentage of children or adults who are on more than one form of steroid at a time, which can lead to complications.
So the question has to do, if I could rephrase, with the research on glucocorticoids and their side effects. Is that right?
Yes. Just with if there's been any further research on the safety of the current steroid treatments in use.
There is a lot of active research on the safety of the glucocorticoids. There is now, as you may know, the number of companies that are trying to get approval by the FDA for their glucocorticoids, and that has forced them to look deeply at the side effects. We do know that steroids can cause topical candidiasis. We do know that steroids in some doses can cause suppression of the adrenal hypothalamus pituitary axis, which has to do with generation of internal hormones in the body, and there are other effects of glucocorticoids that are being monitored. However, when we topically deliver them to the esophagus, there's a minimum amount of side effects systemically, and this is being actively pursued in the research. We do know that there are genetic variants in terms of responses to the glucocorticoids, and that certain patients may have a higher risk of some of the side effects. But by and large, glucocorticoids or steroids are generally safe for EOE, and they can be used currently in an off-label indication for treatment of the disease.